right. Live and alive and all that stuff. So dope. Hello. Um, I I think I should ask the questions out of order. You obviously know what the questions are already, but because you're here, and, yeah, just a couple. Um, I think the big thing is something you touched on that I didn't even know. You were a part of another group, or you already have a group of our peers that you brought over here. How long have you been doing RP? What is that group like? And that stuff.
Uh, okay, well, I've been RPing since I was about 13 years old, and it went from like Dungeons and Dragons to just like regular text RP, and then I found like I used to be on a group. Okay, don't laugh, but IMVU. It was, and now it's just ERP. You can't find regular RP anywheres on that thing. It just sucked. But on there, you used to be able to go into chat rooms that were like, I used to be one in a, I don't know if you remember Avatar, like with the Navi and stuff, and I had learned the entire language, and it was, you would go in as one of the, either a human, or you would go in as one of the Navi, and this character called Silpe, which actually means blue flower in Navi, and we would play this whole story, and there was some people that were playing the avatars that were actually humans who were in the body of the Navi and stuff like that. And it was this great big elaborate story, and everybody would have their characters built to look like the characters, and then go in and do this whole we'd go on adventures to try to catch the icans, which are those flying birds, and it was like this great big community in there. But it just died off, and then that whole freaking site became just scut. And you couldn't go, you would go into a room where it says medieval roleplay, and you'd just be like, you come in and there's like a fucking dwarf and an elf on the table somewhere, and it's like, nope, it just leaves. So I had to find somewhere else after that, and then I was just playing regular games because I couldn't find any RP families. And then I was new to the whole Twitch thing, and I typed in RP, and I found this guy. His name's Cleric, and he was playing on a server called Gunsmoke, and he actually showed me that there's a lot of games out there that are where you can push to talk and talk as your character instead of typing everything out. And I'm dyslexic and I'm ADD, and a lot of the RP rooms where if you don't write a paragraph, you're not welcome.
Right.
So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm French and I talk with my hands.
Oh, that's cool. I talk with my hands, but the camera is so high that you can't see it. So I try and like move my hands up and stuff, and it's really awkward. So I got you.
Yeah. So anyways, we were. He was in a chat in one of the RP rooms, and it was called Gunsmoke. He played a blacksmith there, and he would go town to town selling stuff. Like he went and sold a forge to this group, and I'm like, this is so cool. It's set in the 1800s. Everybody are boys, bandits, or trying to rob banks. And so I went over there and I played this character called Serenity Darling. And the funny thing is I joined that server so that I could play with Cleric, because I was like, this is so cool. This is the guy that brought me. The moment I met his character on that game, I didn't like his character. Like, well, it's not that I didn't like his character, right. Is that my character didn't like his character. So I was a doctor / tarot reader / I was like basically a circus freak that moved to the big country, to the US. I was a French circus person. My whole stick was I would do the tarot card readings. I was running a saloon, and he said it was stupid for a doctor, not in those words, but he said, I don't understand why a doctor would own a saloon. And my character went, did you just call me stupid? And they never like really seen each other much after that. Right. And I lived in this town away from him, and oh, I hate that guy. He's such a freaking overcharges for everything. And he called me stupid for owning a saloon when I'm a doctor. I'm like, doctor's not my first gig. I like to help people, but I'm a tarot reader and a performer,
Right.
so I actually learned to sing to play that character, and then I was like, how can I take that onto the next level? So I moved to Nautilus, and this was all the people from Gunsmoke because the admins there weren't so like if you weren't part of their admin team, they basically their shit don't stink kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the people from those servers decided they were going to open their own roleplay without it being just admins win all the time. It was more of a community that people can talk to each other, and it makes more sense because they work together instead of against.
Gotcha.
So I went on to Nautilus, but it hasn't opened yet. They're still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, Cleric is one of the guys who is running that server. And so from there, I was like, okay, well, they don't want to let me play a mythical creature, and I had done this 13-page bio for my character Evangeline Siren Song, and I was like, had my heart set on her and everything,
mm-hmm.
and like it has all kinds of rules of what I can do and can't do as the character, like what her morals are and everything, and so because when I get into RP, I get really into the character, and I make sure that I follow the rules of my character.
Yeah. I noticed that when we first met, well, first off, I was just like lurking, which I think is funny.
Yeah, clip about onions. I remember that.
But like you as your character are like a force. Like it's clear that you know what you're talking about. You know everything about how your character can interact. Like you said, you know all the rules about your character. It's very daunting to like talk to someone like that. You know what I mean? Like, because when I made my character, I didn't know what I was doing. I just sort of guessed, and I was like convinced that you had been doing it for a long time, and I'm glad that that is definitely true. Basically.
Yeah, except for this is the first RP that I've done with voice other than Gunsmoke. And Gunsmoke, I had only been there for half a season. And actually, you met my character 3 days into the game.
Yeah, y'all were moving inland or whatever and setting up, and that was dope. Yeah.
You were like one of the first people outside of my group that I met in game.
Yay! So these you said that the Gunsmoke peeps all wound up here. I know Rayormi from streams, and we all know Jeffy because Jeffy's amazing.
My character was the doctor who diagnosed Rayomi pregnant with her kid.
Wow. Small. I mean, I guess it's a small RP world, but it seems weird that like even these other RP communities, like we're running into each other now. You know what I mean? Because I watched her because someone else told me to, long before she came to Atlas. And then I met you, and I didn't even know that you knew those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We actually all tried to join Nautilus together, but Nautilus wasn't up yet, so we couldn't really go and join it because they're still working on it. And so they said, okay, you guys could come and play, see if you could break the servers and everything else, but we couldn't exactly go in and work on our character story because the story it would be wiped once the server actually opened. So most of us looked for another place to go, and they were actually the ones that go, hey, we found this server, it's called Darkside, come play with us.
Dope.
And then we ended up trying to join together, but we ended up on two different ends of the map. So we're like, okay, if natural RP makes us find each other, we might join each other. But when we found each other, we were so into our own stories that we stayed friends. So we made an alliance, and we stayed in our groups.
That's cool. That's like we've been talking about, very organic and very cool. And since Gob's here, how do you think the end of the season went for you and Evangeline?
So there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't actually know about that ritual because none of the people streaming it actually had their hubs on. So everything I typed for the ritual got completely lost.
Yeah.
So it just just looked like I was standing there doing nothing. But I had a huge script and everything, and nobody seen it.
I saw a little bit of it on Gob's stream. I'm pretty sure it was his.
Like he read, I think, one or two things from the stream, and yeah, I actually have the script, and I was almost tempted to come and read it here, but it's like so long.
Yeah, there's too much to cover.
Yeah, but basically the idea was she gave Godiva a siren's kiss, where she literally kissed Godiva and sucked her soul out. And that's why Godiva had her head up like that for like a good portion of the thing, is because I had went over there and I had taken her, I had grabbed her from under the jaw and gave her a siren's kiss, sucked out her soul. Then I had to go in the water, now that I have her soul, to call the other half of it, and that's where the singing came in.
Gotcha.
And once I had the soul, I went up to the, like, I'm just giving you the abbreviated version, but I went up to the chest, deposited the soul, and then Osas was able to start his part. Now, because I wanted to sing through the second part of the healing, I had Godiva type in all of the prep, the stuff I had prepped, the entire script, and she was typing it. And I even had it where she could scream in pain at these points and everything. And we actually did the whole thing through. And there was the point where Evangeline was standing in the water, and she had the water run up her leg like a snake and over her arm, and while she touched one of Godiva's wound, and the water went over her hand and sucked out the poison and healed her wound. Well, I said that in the text, it said that it felt like cold claws ripping something from her body, and so that's why she screamed. And then after that, some of the curse stayed in Evangeline, and Evangeline then became cursed, and she could not heal because Godiva had a non-healing curse where she couldn't heal. So I was able to save her, almost sacrificing my own character, and my Evangeline nearly died.
Gotcha. So, when I heard all this stuff was gonna happen, I was like, that doesn't even seem possible. Like, it's insane that like so many people came together.
There was supposed to be 3 magic users. There was supposed to be shaman, the sea witch, and the voodoo priest, and it was just the starting of a bad joke. The shaman, the voodoo priest, and the sea witch walk into a ritual circle with the undead.
It was so like inclusive, and so many people came in and got involved that it was like really legit and really cool.
I had invited all of the Atlanteans there because Evangeline's story is that she was cursed out of the sea because of her father Poseidon. She's her father's best assassin, and she was cursed out because she got too curious of humankind, where to the point she was going, well, you want me to kill this guy because you say he's evil, but he only did those things for this and this reason. He's not a bad guy. He had bad circumstances, so Serenity refused to kill for him. So he ripped out her gills and forced her on land, where she did this transformation and her legs ripped apart. So she hates Poseidon, but she knew she would more than likely die if she tried to do this ritual alone. That's why she invited the Atlanteans, because there are other sea folk that Poseidon smile upon. So she figured the more their feet are in the water, the less chance she was to die. That's why her son Samuel was in the water and Jarapoppin's there. But because Jarapoppin has that thing where Poseidon talks through him, Poseidon took over Jarapop halfway through the ritual and started yelling to his favorite daughter, "How dare you use my magic?" And so that's what happened there.
Yeah, that was dope too. So much stuff was happening, but it was very cool to see all that stuff come together. Were there other events sort of earlier on that you thought were like formative? I know you didn't come in very early in the chapter.
Ladies' nights, but the first one was really cool. I actually sang at one of them because they opened up the microphone to it. But the second one, I was there with Natasha, my daughter at the time, and I have to like cover Natasha out because they were reading those books. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, I have a kid, I can't sit here. So I had to be the good mother and leave. So
yeah.
we went and tamed some giraffes on their island.
So that's where the giraffes came from. Got it. Croc wound up with one of them, so that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
I think.
because we got bored, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the kids out of here, and so that way they don't listen to this shit. So I took Shush and Natasha, and I took there was one other person that came with us, and we took off and we tamed a horse for one guy and some giraffes for Natasha, and we ended up finding an even better giraffe, so we gave the lower one to Shush. I'm like, here, this is a present, and he couldn't even ride it because he wasn't high enough skill to ride it, so he would just had it whistling and following him around. It was adorable. I love Shush. He's such an adorable character.
Agreed. Oh man. So on that same vein, like I also like Shush and stuff. What are the sort of characters that you like to play with, interact with, and who do you want to surround yourself with?
Well, a good group of the people that I ended up with, I ended up like adopting a bunch of the people from another group because, well, situations happen, and I guess they didn't like their situation. So Evangeline kept collecting Lost Boys, is the way I had it.
Right.
Because I don't know, people just kept showing up and then never leaving her side, and they ended up becoming her protectors. And like, I ended up walking around. I couldn't go anywhere with at least one bodyguard with me. Anywhere I went, I had one of the boys protecting her, and it was just like, can I like just go off with some of my friends, please? They're like, no, John will kill me if I leave you alone to get hurt. And I'm like, for fuck's sakes, I'll kill you, I'll drown you. You would do no such thing. I know you don't kill humans anymore. I was like, thanks.
Do you think that this experience, because you said this is your first time RPing with voice and stuff, I mean legit, like, you know, hardcore or whatever, do you think this has like changed how you're going to play in the future? Are you like super down for voice for the rest, or?
I learned to sing to play these characters. Mm-hmm. The last two characters I played, I learned to sing specifically so I could play these singing characters. Because I was like, you know what would be cool if I was a saloon singer? Shit, I need to learn to sing. And I was like, well, now that I've learned to sing, I guess I could play a siren.
Yeah.
Then I went on that, and the only problem I'm having right now is I can't seem to find a voice box that will allow me to use my speakers, because it'll echo through itself and just cause a whole lot of havoc to anyone listening.
Right.
So because what I wanted to do is have this is the way I sing like a human, so that it doesn't affect people. But when I use this special echo effect, right, you guys know I'm using this siren song that should affect your character in some way, even if it's just a little bit and based on your fortitude. So a lot of people I was playing with, if they had no fortitude, they were like crawling at my feet. But if they had strong fortitude, they were resisting, but they would like grapple the ground next to them and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So we were, hey, long time no see.
That's Naomi. Yep.
Yeah.
Dope. You mentioned Ladies' Night and stuff. Were there any like big events that you feel like you missed out on that you really wanted to be at?
I really wanted to go to paint night, but it always ended not working with my schedule, because I love to draw and paint and everything, and I just thought it'd be like real fun to go to, but it just never worked out. So next season, if there's still something along those lines, I'm gonna definitely try to make it, but unfortunately it was not working out.
Would you be interested in like hosting some sort of event yourself so that you could go, even if it's just one?
I have a lot of plans next season for Wit Group. We're gonna be trying to do, I don't want to give away too much, but we're gonna be doing like a big RP hub where almost every night there's gonna be something going on and people can come. And last season we did where we were a complete neutral port, And if you cause shit on our island, I don't care who you were. If you were there, the one caused, if you were the Navy, pirates, whatever, you're the one being shot, not the person you're coming here after.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be the same idea at this port. Whoever starts shit will end shit. But
Gotcha.
we're going to actually, one of the ideas is we're going to have a great big fighting arena. So if anybody causes shit, it'll go deal with it in the arena or leave. You have your choices. If you don't want to leave, you're going to get a Caribbean face.
That's a good idea. A lot of people use the arenas to like entertain, but I haven't seen anyone who was like, "Look, you're forced to fight it out or whatever." That's funny. That's good.
Yeah,
I like
and
it.
we're also going to be making a big circle out of buoys, and if they don't want to take it out in the arena, they could take it out with their ship. To the first ship's sinks, we'll sail home.
Dope.
So, and we're going to be making we're going to make a peanut gallery where you guys could go up and watch the whole fight from up on the rocks or shit, and it's gonna be like one of the main places to go, or at least that's what we're hoping.
Mhm.
We had a lot of people coming in and out of port all the time, so we just want to give people another place to RP, because we've seen that people go, well, we're bored, okay, let's go to the Navy. But all of our characters, we were all from different time zones. There was always someone awake on our island. If you're ever bored, come to our island, because there's always someone awake.
Right.
So we want to make it so that people know this and people could come to us if they're ever bored.
It's dope.
Because the Navy is usually really busy, and unless you have something specific you have to do there, you wait for a long time.
Yes, you do. Never been waiting long at the Navy is something no one's ever said. So, true. Do you think that that sort of I mean, that's like a lot of work and a lot of commitment. Do you think it's something that you as a group can pull off?
We're gonna definitely try.
All right, cool.
We have recruited a bunch of builders from some of the like really other pretty places and that we found in the surrounding area, and we even went to talk to other builders that were from other places. We're like, can we like force adopt you for a week for you to come help us build this, and then you can go back to whatever company you want. We'll pay you. And yeah, so we've been doing things like that. We've been trying to get as many characters. I'm not 100% sure if I'm bringing Evangeline back next season, but I'm going to definitely stay with the same RP group because I love them. They're an awesome group to play around. Anytime that I feel like I'm in a bad mood, I go in, I talk to them for a bit, and I'm laughing in minutes. So it's just great.
Yeah, that's nice. So before we started, you were saying that, you know, your life is hectic and all that stuff, or chaos, or I don't know exactly what you said.
Oh yeah, I live in a zoo. Like literally, I have 2 birds, 3 dogs, 2 cats, and I have to always make excuses for them when I'm playing. I'm like, sorry, my inner demons or demon dogs and stuff, and people are, and it's always when I sing.
Yeah.
My one dog tries to sing along with me. It's like...
I think that's like legit and real, and I think that's something that we all like deal with. But I haven't thought to bring it up. Do you have any like tips or ways to handle like something chaotic happening around you while you're trying to RP?
Keep marrow bones in your pocket. They freaking get loud. Here you go eat those, and then they'll go off in the corners, eat their treats, and then a few minutes later they'll be back again.
Of course.
Like, oh, okay. You give me treats when I make noise, I'm gonna make more noise later. Just let me finish eating this.
I hadn't even thought of that. That's a good idea. I will start putting treats in my desk.
That or you have a husband and you go put them outside, please.
Yeah. Cool. So do you've been here a couple times, obviously. Do you watch a lot of people's streams, and do you?
I try to. I'm like really busy most of the time. If I'm not, I can't go on there as much as I can because, well, considering I spend about 12 to 16 hours a day actually on the game,
Yeah.
I don't have time to stream other than work. So I live on RP games. I suffer from chronic pain. How I deal with the pain because I'm actually allergic to painkillers. So
Gotcha.
people making me laugh in game. A lot of times I'll message, like when you messaged me that video about the onions, of how I was complaining how it was siren repellent and fucking John won't stop eating it, and you sent me that clip because you were spying under my house. You made me laugh, and that's why I messaged you. I'm like, that's so great. You made me laugh. Thank you, because laughing distracts me and I don't feel so in pain all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always thanking the guys I play with or the people I play with. I'm like, thank you for keeping me distracted all day. I didn't feel pain all day. So it's great.
Gotcha. Cool. There's also there's like, I don't know, rumors, but like thoughts or whatever about there not being what are they called? Fantasy characters? That's it. Would you want to see like a dark side with no fantasy? It sounds like you could do it, but
I mean, I put Evangeline on break for a little bit and I came back in with another character for like a few weeks. And I actually brought Serenity from Gunsmoke to Darkside and it worked well. Actually, she ended up in the love triangle and great big story happened, and yeah. It was crazy.
of
But
course.
she suffers from multiple personality disorder, and like one of her personality loved one person and her other personality loved another person, and so it got a whole lot of confusing, but it was still fun. I mean, I love the mythical creatures, and to be a siren, it's like one of my favorite things because the way I play my character is I had to sacrifice points to go in other places to make sure she had everything swimming related maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
So that she can play as a siren. So she has a 13-page bio of, like I said, of all of the rules for her character to make sure that I don't ever accidentally go off script with her or off character with her. So I would be very upset if I couldn't play her type of character. Mythical creatures are all like, well, I got ears right now because
right.
I love mythical creatures. So I don't know. I think the dark side would suffer a little bit if mythical creatures, because you meet all kinds of interesting characters that have all this story because they're another race and not human, and then you meet people that are playing humans that and they have all their stories of the kind of creatures they met. And see, Evangeline's favorite thing was meeting another non-human because they were so few and far between. She'd get all excited. Like the first day she met Croc. Croc was her first non-human she met. She like took him aside and told, because at the time I was playing her where nobody's allowed to know that she was a siren. It was a secret because Poseidon wanted her dead. And if anybody found out, but she's like, another non-human, and then us non-humans have to stick together. And he's like, you're a non-human? I'm like, I'm a siren, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Croc is the one that I think of too every time people say, you know, oh, I wish there weren't any fantasy creatures, because I would normally agree with it. Like, I don't know how to handle magic or whatever as a non
well, I can't say for at all, but some people overdo it and almost god mode their characters because of fantasy characters. There's people that can't die because they have this magical thing where they're not able to die. Well, I think that if you're going to play a mythical creature, if they want to restrict it, the people that want to play them should be able to talk to the admin and say, this is why I want to play a mythical creature. These are the rules I'm going to set for myself. This way, you know, I don't god mode. Like, that's
right.
why I have a 13-page bio. I have 13 pages of what I can't do and how anything. My character can't die from old age, but she can die any other human way.
Right.
She is a faster swimmer, but she is terrified of cages because one time she got abducted by humans and they tried to dissect her to see how close to human she was. So when she got trapped by the Navy, she was singing the whole time. She was singing the raindrops on roses and whiskers on. She was nervous and scared the whole time, and she cried. She was panicking. They actually put her in the main prison with Godiva because they didn't want to have her in such a small cage, and they were doing this to help her. But Evangeline was like, this is another fucking cage. Hey, look, a shower. I'm going to stand under this water, and I'm just going to keep turning it on so that way I'm underwater at least, and I know I won't dry out to death.
Wow. Prison with Godiva. That's intense.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually met Godiva.
Cool.
And the second time I met her, she had court with Natasha, who was the one that sent me to the Navy to get executed.
Yep.
So I was like, what the hell? So I was hiding under the docks. I don't know if anybody even knew I was there, but I was listening to the conversation, just swimming under the docks, and everybody had their guns pointed at Natasha and was trying to, if you don't leave here now, we're going to kill you. And I'm like, but that's my daughter. I was torn because in character, I was like, this is my daughter. I dead, but she tried to get me executed. Out of character, well, there was a whole lot of drama, and I wanted to get rid of the character permanently.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That is wild. If I hadn't like spoken to you both, I would have just assumed that you and Godiva and all of the Siren-y type folk were all in the same group, all the same company or whatever, but apparently you just all wound up together somehow, so that's cool.
Godiva ended up at our port because she had found out I was a siren and a sea witch from somebody else had told her, and because Godiva was going from town to town trying to find out things about the occults because she was trying to heal herself.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had mentioned that Evangeline was a sea witch and that sirens could suck souls. So she came to me. She's like, please don't kill me. I know all shit happened with your daughter, but please don't kill me. I just have a few questions. And I was like, okay, well, this is what she started going, oh, and by the way, right about your daughter, she is a freak of nature to die. And I was like, okay, well, I'm okay with you now since you come to your senses. And then I was like, okay, so let's have this conversation. Then she started asking about everything to do with sirens and stuff, like down to like the breeding rituals and of sirens. And she actually gave me a copy of her book, and she had it all written down. Apparently, sirens have a mating ritual, and blah, blah, blah. And she had it all written down in the book. It was hilarious when I seen. I didn't know she was gonna write it down when I was telling her, but I've stuck to the same story the whole time. That sirens and mermaids are completely different creatures, right. And Evangeline hates mermaids because they're the floozies of the sea, because they have to make out with any people that fall into the waters, while sirens are the ones that try to eat them.
So you and her both do like so much stuff outside of the actual RP to like make your characters legit, make other characters legit. Do you think that I mean, you're just creating limits is what you've said. So do you think that that's worthwhile to do as RP for your specific situations?
Well, I find there's a lot of people that'll play their character, and as time goes on, their character all of a sudden has more things pop up, like all of a sudden they're they went through their entire life playing their character this way, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, this happened in my past, so this actually can happen, and everything gets tangled up, and their original story doesn't make sense anymore.
Right. That's true.
So I always go and put all the character details in at the very beginning, so that way, well, I can't say, oh well, Poseidon loved me at this point, so now I can do this magic. Well, no, he kicked me out and he ripped the gills from her body. She would never go back to being Poseidon's puppet again. So when Jarapop offered to heal her, because she was scared that Poseidon was going to darken her soul and stuff, but eventually Jarpoppin said, okay, I found a way to do it without your father's. I found this water from this well. If you just drink this, it'll help you heal, blah, blah, blah. But until he said that her father wasn't going to be involved, she was going to stay a big bruise for the rest of her life because she got squeezed so bad by the water that she was healing with that she had bruises all up her legs. Her eyes were bleeding. She got squeezed so hard, and she was just gonna stay that way.
That's brutal. It's so different to hear you talk about all the stuff you've done, because I didn't plan anything, and I don't even.
I painted all the bruises onto my character. Oh, that's another thing Evangeline does. She hand paints tattoos onto people's bodies, so it's like actually going to a tattoo artist. You'll have to sit there for as long as it takes for her to paint it.
Right.
And one of Godiva's brothers showed up at the port and was like, "You to paint tattoos, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do them by hand, so you could ask me for almost literally anything." He's like, "Okay, I want a banana fighting a jalapeno."
We saw it. We saw it. It's great.
I put a banana fighting a jalapeno on his shoulder, and they're sword fighting, and the jalapeno's breathing fire.
Yeah, we saw that on the docks at Knights of the Rifle. He was like, "Hold on, let me go get a paintbrush. You have to see this," and then he like ran off and came back with it. Yeah, we've all seen it. That's so funny.
Yeah, that was me.
Dope.
I've done all of the tattoos from all of my entire crew. I also helped most of them with their biographies. And actually, for the Nautilus server, I did a joint biography where basically I wrote a journal of Evangeline, because we're using the same characters in there, just alternate reality characters. Mm-hmm. So they met in different ways. There's not relationships between them yet. She saved all of them from a shipwreck, so that's how they met. And so I wrote this journal in the eyes of Evangeline, how she met them, what she first thought of them, what she learned about them. And it just kind of goes through all the characters a little bit by a little bit and more quirks that they learn. And it was like, I don't know, almost 20 pages of like wow. Her first, where the ship crashed and she brought them to shore. They seen her change out of her she was in her natural form when they first seen her. So John actually got it tattooed to his arm so that he can still use the tattoos that I gave him in this Dark Side, because he really liked that tattoo of the siren I put on. And so there was all these explanations, and it went through. First, she didn't like Jack because he was running around trying to salvage all of the boomsticks and setting traps and stuff, and she actually stepped on a trap and got shot by a crossbow, and this whole story, right? And so I'm actually the one that most comes up with a lot of their bios to help them get into the game, and yeah, so
that's cool.
Stuff I do.
Do you have any tips for people who are new to RP, not necessarily for like voice and stuff, but just like in general?
My biggest advice that I've been giving to a lot of people, actually brought in a good portion of the kids that I've brought into my group are people that I'm like, if you want to bring in a new character, and if you're not even like, mostly I suggest this to people that have never RP'd before. I suggest that they come in as kid characters, because they could learn to RP, and us teaching them is like teaching a kid. So I can go, no, don't do that, and it'd be a mother teaching a child not to do something as if it would be in RP, even though it was something that I'm telling them not to do because of RP reason, for like to learn to RP. So yeah. I have a friend that's coming in this season as one of my character's son, who has never played Atlas before. And so now I could literally teach him how to play Atlas by having him come in as my kid. He's RP'd on Gunsmoke before, but he's never really played Atlas. So I could teach him how to use a ship. I could teach him how the guns work. I could teach him like in RP so that it doesn't look weird, and it just works.
That
So
is an
you're not
interesting.
sure, if you're unsure about how RP works and stuff, find somebody that you know. Even ask in Discord, I'd like to play a child. Is anybody's character pregnant or needing a child? Because there's a lot of people getting pregnant, and then they find it hard to try to find people to play the kids because nobody wants to play kids. But if you're coming in as a new character, one of the easiest things to do is come in as a kid because you could learn to RP in the RP itself by going, if you talk a certain way or use a specific word, we can go, like, if they use something that's kind of meta, I was like, don't use those bad words. So
Yeah, that's I never thought about using kids that way. That's I'm
but
thinking back to
I Justin, my husband, he's never played any. Dark Side was his very first RP, and he came in playing Evangeline's son, who was the Siren Boy.
Mhm.
And he came in and he was crouching down on the rock, and he's like, "I kind of look like Smeagol right now." So he tried to pull off the Smeagol voice and ended up sounding more like Stitch.
Mhm.
So he had to go on throughout this entire. He played for, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks before the server actually shut down. But he was playing with a voice like Stitch, and he was going on. And John, who's playing his dad, was actually doing the whole RP. Okay, you see that bird over there? Okay, now breathe. Okay, and now slowly squeeze that trigger. And he was going through the whole teaching him how to play and shoot a gun. And then when they went to reload, he was explaining in game how to reload faster by going. You see how you have to get the line straight to get that bullet in properly.
Right.
It was in game, and he would learn how to actually use it. And now Justin actually is one of the better shot company. He can
Nice.
hit a bird like before anybody else can even see it.
I in thinking back to all the stupid junk I did when I was first playing Atlas, I honestly can say I probably should have done that. Because I just died over and over and over, and I had no idea how to do anything
When
for
you
so
come in
long.
as a kid, you also have your group to help protect you.
Right.
You have your mother, your father, or like the people that are taking care of you, your guardian. So
Yeah. Roscoe as Croc taught Boxer how to shoot. It was pretty funny. He just beat the crap out of me for a while. um Dang, that's such a good idea. Also, if you guys have questions, hit me up. I let my questions close. Um, oh, with with all the planning that you put into Evangeline, did you think you would have a specific story when you came into Darkside?
not really. The only thing that I had set up was the fact that me and John came in together, and we had like a budding romance started off already in Nautilus,
Mhm.
as we were playing the characters over there trying to break the server, and then we're like, okay, well, do we want to start them fresh over there and them not really know each other yet? He's like, no, let's leave the story as it is. You were singing on the rocks. I crashed my ship. I started falling in love with you. Let's just continue that story over there. It's like, do that. And
Perfect.
then we ended up on an island that actually had one of his real life friends, which was kind of cool that we kind of ended up on that island. He was friends with Sid, and we ended up over there. And then we played with them, and then we also played with another cool group, was S&M. Unfortunately, the story went where the S&M and Neptune's Gallows and kind of ended up enemies in the end. I don't have anything like against them or anything out of character, but it's just where the story went. It
Right.
was kind of funny. But she was actually turning, Evangeline turned one of the guys almost into her pet. Every time she sang, he was crawling at her feet and stuff. And then all of a sudden, John told her that such and such a thing happened and that I wasn't allowed to see him anymore. And I'm like, you better not hurt my pet. And it was kind of funny.
You you said a bunch of like super wild stuff about like healing and stuff to me when we met. And you're pretty like open and accepting. Was there anything that happened that like really shocked you and you weren't sort of expecting at all?
The way I play my character is I do a lot of research to a lot of things. Like I watched a lot of TV shows that had healing from the past in it, like The Midwife. It's stuff that's still newer than what's back then, but I couldn't find anything older. I watched Outlander because that had the. I watched The Midwife, and I watched some of House, and some of I think it was another one. But anyways, in one of them they were using fish scales to heal burns, and I'm like, that's something that could have been done in the past as long as they knew to put the fish scales in salt water in the saline solution, keep them fresh and all that, and not use like rotting fish meat to do it. So I'm like, these are all techniques that could have been used in the past easily. So why not have it so that's what my character specializes in? So I had her as a sea witch where she specialized in herbal remedies and medicines that had to do with the sea. So she did acupuncture with sea anemone spines and so on and so forth. And actually, there was a few people that came to her for healing, but it was to the point where most people just go grab the med pack, let's go. I kind of wish there was more in depth where people would come to doctors, get bandages when they got hurt and stuff like that, because that's what we did on Gunsmoke. If you got injured, you had to go to an actual physician and get the bandages painted on, otherwise you could die from infection. Even though your character wouldn't actually die, your character in RP, do it in RP is basically what we. So you got your ass burned by a fire elemental. Well, see the sea witch, she'll fucking put scales on your ass. Like,
So go as legit as possible is what I'm hearing. Got it.
yeah. So it was just funner that way. What's the fun in just like, here, let's use this med pack, throw it up in the air. There you go. We're all healed.
True.
And all of these people dying over and over, caring. Well, if you were in Gunsmoke and doing that, you would be a mummy covered in bandages because you need to add bandages for every wound. You had to have your character the sick and injured RP for so loud on another creature, which means people wouldn't be doing things all the time that risk their character's life all the time, and it would make a lot more sense. If you jumped off a building and got sent to your bed because you hit the ground so hard, well, guess what? You now have a broken ankle. You have to ride the pig for the next few days because you're injured. Because we in Gunsmoke, we had pigs. They were tiny, and your feet would drag on the floor, and we called those the wheelchairs of guns. So you had to ride the pig if hurt you, and you had to like ride around on this little itty bitty pig, and it's one of the slowest mounts in the game, and it was frustrating, but it would teach people to pay attention and actually be careful with their character's life.
Yeah, I should have done a lot of stuff differently with Boxster, but it was too late. I couldn't do anything about it. But that is a good point. So what are y'all planning to do anything, I guess, in the meantime between seasons? Do you have a plan for this portion?
Right now, we're actually just finished building the main town in Nautilus, and it's supposed to go up next Saturday.
Cool.
And so there's that. And me and some of the other characters have been working on our book of what's going on between season, because the way I see it is if we're bringing in a new character to play one of the character's son, he has to be at least 5 years old. So we're doing 5 years story that we're writing out, and eventually we're probably going to end up publishing our group's story, because every time they do something, we have journal entries, and I have like a bunch of the guys actually doing their journal entries, and I put journal entries and we have a shared Google Doc that we keep adding things to as things happen, and you can actually read and see the entire story to the beginning when they join the world to like now. So it's actually really, there's a lot of pages. Like this season's like the between season stuff right now, we are 9 months into where from when they left for the storm written out so far, and it's already 8 pages.
Wow. That is like everything you're doing is so intense and so big. I can't even think about it. I'm just me, and I do, whatever happens I do. So that's crazy that y'all are doing so much. But actually, someone else said that they're also doing the what are our characters doing right now kind of thing. So that's really cool that people are out there and like their characters are still alive and they're still doing things even though the servers are down. That's dope.
Yeah.
I don't think
Plan on doing is once all of these specific characters die off, we're probably gonna actually maybe even publish it into the Dark Side Discord so that anybody can read it, because it won't be meta because
right.
characters died. It doesn't really have anything to do with any of the current characters. But once that happens, and the way we're doing it is we're all turns writing in it. So like this is what my character does, and we do it in the narrator point of view, and then all of a sudden the next there's like little lines in the next character. So it's basically text RP, but we're all doing it in the same style so that it could be read as a continuous book.
That's cool. Dang.
Actually, I should probably send that to you at some point just so that you can kind of see. It'd be really cool.
I know you can read that, but Roscoe said, do you feel like having such detailed character backgrounds creates challenges for you?
That's the whole point of having the character background for me, because with I don't want to play like a character anything. I want to do a character that, well, she wouldn't do that because that's against her morals, and I know what her morals, so I know where my limits lie. I feel like a siren would be way too easy to god mode. If I didn't have these rules, then I don't think I'd be able to play her without everybody getting pissed off at, well, you can't have her do that because of this, that, and the other thing. I was like, well, she's a fucking siren. She could sing and you're her slave. That's too bad.
Right.
So she has it where she doesn't sing that way to people as if she can help it. Only people that still fall for her song are people with really low fortitude, unless she sings with her, which she doesn't do in front of people because she doesn't like taking advantage of people.
That one says, did you run into a situation that you really wanted to do something, but you couldn't because of your character's pre-written traits? Or just traits?
Yeah, very many times. There was so many people that I want to shoot that person in the head. But this wouldn't do that. Or this person annoys me so much, but Evangeline is too loving to, so she would always do the whole, she was really protective of her family, and she would always offer to drown somebody because she hadn't drowned somebody in so long and she kind of missed. But unless it was to protect her family or to help somebody in need, she wouldn't drown anybody. So there's a bunch of people that would come and anger her specifically, and she'd be like, I don't really have a good reason to do that. I wouldn't do it for myself, only to my own, for the sake of my family. You have no idea how many times that I nearly killed Natasha myself.
Yeah.
But she's the daughter, so she can't because she loves her daughter.
Yeah.
And so she would go on and play her character, and both OOC and in character she'd be after me. And she was saying, her daughter was like, you're neglecting. She was like, you're neglecting me, Mom. You're neglecting me. I'm like, I just spent the last 13 hours straight playing with you. Just because I don't say I love you every 3 minutes doesn't mean I don't fucking like, holy fuck. Yeah. And I just wanted to take out my gun and problem solve.
That sounds like Shrimps would always sit in my chat and I would run into somebody that I didn't even know. And she would be like, kill him, kill him, kill him. And I was like, I don't know this person, and Boxster's never gonna do that. But she was constantly telling me to kill her, or kill them. That's funny. Yeah, normal parenting, exactly.
I'm guessing that's Croc.
Roscoe Growler is Croc. Gobtube is Osus.
I know Gobtube
because
we had to do the whole prep for the ceremony together, but I didn't. Growler was Croc. Croc was one of my favorite characters in the entire game. Just saying.
Me too. Me too. Literally every time I saw him, crouched walking, could not stand it. For him, could not. I can't believe he did it the entire time. That's so dope.
I did it for like 3 days while Evangeline was in pain, and I was like, okay, Mr. Jerapoppin, if you promise you're not going to use my father for this ceremony, please heal me. I was crouching everywhere to like walk, and I had people. Okay, so if you're gonna RP with an injured person, don't grapple them and drag them up the stairs. It will cause them more injury.
Yeah.
Just RP, pick them up, and I will walk next to you.
Yeah.
Like, just type picks up Evangeline, and I will walk next to you. Don't grapple them and drag them up the stairs. All I can imagine is my leg as I go up the stairs.
I should have picked up Croc along the way. That would have been hilarious. The only problem with that would have been Croc was so tall.
Damien, we went to the coronation while Evangeline was in all bruised up after doing the ritual, and they took her to Jerapoppin's coronation, and as you know, Atlantis, the stairs, and more stairs, and then more stairs, and then guess what? More stairs again on the other side. So Evangeline is just standing there looking at us. She's like, oh no, I didn't bring a mount. How the fuck am I getting up there? And then all of a sudden Godiva grapples her and drags her up the stairs, and I'm like, yeah, because that's not going to cause more bruises.
You don't even have feet at the top. Question squared. Did you ever get involved on Navy pirate stories and drama with your character? I think the answer is yes, but how was it?
So, the Navy came looking for me and John after. Okay, so we'll start at the beginning.
Oh, so no.
We grounded Natasha, got into the liquor. And when sirens get drunk, they want to eat human flesh. So she tried to eat some of our friends. And so we grounded her, took away her admin privileges because she was admin in our company. And she got real pissed off and jumped on one of our ships and said she was going to go kill all the Navy. And so I went, not in my not, and then kind of kicked her out of the company. And so she was already on the wheel. She took that boat all the way to the Navy and then went and told the Navy that we were pirates, where to find us. So she was trying to get us grounded. And so we get all of a sudden, we were at our friend's port, which was the S&M company at the time, which is kind of where all the problems with it started to begin with. And so we were there, and all of a sudden the Navy, Sid had told me the day before he had to our port looking for. So the Navy showed up at the port, and I'm like, okay, well, they want to talk to me. I walked up to the Navy officer, and I'm like, I heard you were looking for me to talk to me. And so he put a grapple in my shoulder and said, you're under arrest. And I'm like, I came to you guys to talk to you, and this is the kind of, well, thank you very much. And my character is terrified of being captured. So she's flipping out. She's scared. She's crying. She's terrified. And because John is like, I'm going to protect my wife at all costs, he takes out his 300% carabine and shoots one of the Navy. And then none of the came to our defense at all. They just stood there and watched as we both got dragged off. And because they had Evangeline and nobody else helping, John asked what the pirate leader from the group we were hanging out with to go and barricade the ship in their pirate ship. And they're like, stay out of this. And I'm like, some friends you guys are. So John's like, okay, well, here I'll go with you guys quietly as long as you keep me with my wife. So yeah, we ended up at the Navy port. I was crying and like actually I had to log off for a few seconds and they actually dragged me on the because I'm a taxi driver and I play through my shift and I'm like, okay, I'm going into nightmares back and forth, right?
Right.
And so and because my character's afraid of cages, I can't put myself in those cages that allow you to not starve to death.
Right.
So I keep logging off my character and coming back on. There's the cages in the writing desk that you could use, and if you stand in them, you can't die from natural means.
Hmm?
But so anyways, I logged so much for that rule for not moving sleepers, but okay, right. We're here. And I'm standing in this room, and John's in the cage next to me. Because I told them I was terrified of being captured, they didn't actually put me in the cage with him. And he was handcuffed, and they had him handcuffed to a chair for the most of his whole time in there, and nobody was in there RPing with him. So he was there for like 5 hours, just is stuck to a chair with nobody to play with, nobody to talk to, just chained to a fucking chair. Dang. Because everybody having too much fun messing with the siren, who was in permanent fucking jail area where you put the long term, because she was singing, crying, and turning the water on and off above her head because she's freaking out.
So
going yes. For John, I had fun with it, but yeah.
Sorry, Hidalgo, my bad. Can you do accents?
I try sometimes. I have actually, if you want to hear one of my, I don't do accents, but I do voice act. And if you want to hear one of my favorite characters to play is one of Serenity's multiple personality disorder alters. She's a 6-year-old undead child who's one of her protectors. So if Serenity is a pacifist and she won't defend herself, and so she has this alter that takes over when she gets afraid or if her body gets in danger. And she's 6 years old. She likes to paint pictures in the blood of her enemy, and she's creepy as. And she sounds a little bit like this.
Oh God, it's cutting out.
Do you want to hear a song? Down where life hers goes by, where you may be the next to die. I love that song.
That you asked for that, not me. You're gonna think about that later, I'm sure. Be all creeped out.
But I don't do accents. I one of my other alters for that character has a bit of an accent, but it's like a complete failed accent. And most people that meet her go, "Oh God, that accent!" But
yeah, did you meet?
I'm Canadian, and I tried really bad American accent with her. It is just horrible. And she's like, "Hey, darling, how? I'm just gonna go over here and get some fried chicken." It's just bad.
That is awkward, I guess is the word for that. Yeah.
It's just bad, but I'm like, you need to be able to tell the characters apart, so otherwise you won't ever know who's fronting.
Right.
So Serenity is my normal voice, and then Sin, who's the complete flirt, goes, "Hey, darling, how are you?" And then there's Lily Beast like, pretty pictures of mine. I exploded an elephant once and I did blood angels and it was beautiful.
Oh, jeez. I exploded an elephant once, but I don't tell anybody about it. Gob, you're like running the questions now. You got anything else? Also, my doggo turned off my fan somehow. I don't know exactly how.
Okay, I'm in a rig and I'm overheating over here, and my
Yeah,
AC's turned off. That's so great.
that's terrible. I ran out of questions and we've just been chilling, so it's whatever. I think that you
I
and your
got a random question.
yeah, what's up?
What was your first impression on Evangeline when she says, "I don't humans anymore"?
Well,
Because she
so
said that to a lot of people.
at that point, I had already run into so many people, and we had lived near the Reavers for so long that it didn't even shock me.
Crazy.
But like the Reavers had been eating people supposedly, maybe they weren't. I don't actually know. We never met. Um but we had heard those stories a lot, so I was like, "Oh, great, another one." You know what I mean? Like if there hadn't
Well,
been a whole group that we thought were doing it, then I probably would have just left, honestly. Like, "Oop, no, I'm not going to be food." You know what I mean?
well, she doesn't eat people anymore. She's like, I haven't done that since I left the ocean.
Sure, but I mean, at
One of
any
the
point, you look, if you've eaten someone once, you could do it again. So I'm just saying.
people ask me how that is, and I'm like, you ever try a maple ham? Well, it's kind of like pork but sweeter. And she's explaining it. She's saying like, you almost make me want to try it.
Don't do it. PSA: don't eat people. Beware of relapses. Exactly. Maple ham. Gross. I don't even know how to. I'm not a fan of ham, so I guess it's fine.
Well, at least you won't eat it then, right?
Yeah, I
The
think I'm
funny
good.
thing is, every time there was a doppelganger around, I was like, ooh, snack for later. And I would just like take it and then feed it to my crew without them knowing. And I turned my entire crew into doppelgang cannibals. I wouldn't kill anybody and eat them. I just pick up the bodies and mix it in with the rest of the meat. Nobody would know.
So that's where all the bodies go. Got it.
Yeah, Evangeline gets to them, yeah.
Yikes. You heard it here first. Oh, man.
Some of my crew were aware and they would go, Jack refused to get anything from the main house because he knew there was possibly human meat in there. So he was a cook that also made his own stash to keep in his house because we had rules in our company that nobody's allowed to go into anybody else's houses. So he would refuse to eat any food unless it came from the bags in his house.
That's awesome.
Because he was scared that I was spiking the meat pie with doppelganger meat.
Which you were, so it worked out.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. I guess thanks for chatting with me. I had no idea that you had so much like RP experience and stuff. So that's really dope that we got this insight, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if anybody ever needs help with character ideas, I am overload of ideas. I get bored and I just create stories for the hell of it and fun. So
Yeah.
like I could probably like sitting here, I could probably 3 full characters with 3 full bios in approximately the span of a half hour. So
legit.
I just get bored.
I have planned my next character, so I'm good. But I assume people can, I don't know, DM you or something if they want.
People can DM.
It's the title. It's right. Wait. Right there.
Somewhere. Yeah, there you go.
I couldn't remember where my hands were. What do I do with my hands?
I could just do this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Cool. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you all other people for hanging out with me. I'm going to go cook food. Yeah. Go ahead.
Wait, I'm gonna show you
Whoa, whoa,
the
whoa.
voice. 1 second.
Oh, doggo. Perfect.
So this is the voice behind the main dog who sings along with me. This.
Hold on, I got this. He's very pretty.
Yeah, that's Miko. She's the one that howls when I sing.
Also, Pringles.
Yeah, I have a bunch of crap everywhere.
Yeah. I would show off my dog, but he left. He turned off the fan and then he left. So, what a jerk.
Yep.
Cool.
I do.
Thanks for the introduction to the doggo.
If anybody ever wanted to go, what the hell is that howling along with me? Actually, Miko, good morning. Good morning. Hello. She won't do it now because I'm on camera.
Nope.
Good morning. What do you want? Don't do it now because usually I say good morning and she howls.
Of course.
Good morning. Hi. Hi. There you go. That's what I usually hear when I'm fucking trying to sing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
She usually talks on cue, but she never shuts up on cue, so it goes the problem.
Doggo performance anxiety. Poor doggo.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going back to Lady Nari. Thank you all for being here again. It's been a long day of these. Again, I feel bad about the one that I skipped out on, but it is what it is. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for the interview as well. Yeah, throw out the buys. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Take care.